Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria. If this happens to be your first time stopping by, welcome to Siempre Infinitos DIY. Today I have another inspirational piece. I am going to be making a pumpkin man. I like to call him Jack the Pumpkin. Okay, so here I have a foam. Now I got this foam from Hobby Lobby, and it's actually in their Thanksgiving section, and I am going to be drawing a face on him. Now, spoil alert, I decided to go another route, but if you choose to draw his face, you can go ahead and do so. Any pen would work. I chose to use a 4.0 ball pen, but then again, like I said, it really depends on you. All right, so once I had his his head all painted, I started doing his body, and I'm going to be using smooth foam ball. I'm going to leave a link of all of the items that I'm going to be using in this video in the description box down below. So what I chose to do is instead of wasting so much clay, I just chose to use a foam ball. I am going to cover half of the ball in pink and the other half is going to be in black. I'm going to be using a cookie cutter. It's up to you if you want to use glue, but I chose not to. So I'm just going to be adding the clay over, lapping it over the ball and just pressing it down lightly. I don't want to make or leave any marks. But if you do, just try to either roll them out. If they're not too deep, you can do that. If they, or you can just leave it alone and they for sure will disappear. If not, then it's probably just best you start all over again. If you just added, let's say one piece, but if you already far into it, then I just suggest just leaving it alone. So now here I have the black clay, and I'm going to be doing pretty much the same thing, making sure that my clay is not rolled out too thin, because I don't want also to take chances that it's going to crack. Whenever I finish my piece, I always make sure to spray them down with a clear acrylic sealer, and you can use glue if you like. This really depends on you. Not glue, I'm sorry, like Mod Podge, but I stopped using the white Mod Podge because it leaves those white marks. So if you want to use Mod Podge, you can use the clear. That hopefully that should help you. But I stopped using Mod Podge altogether when it comes to sealing it. I just prefer the sealer, the spray instead. So now that I have his bottom part, which is going to be his pants, and the top is going to be the shirt part of his body, I am going to be making like just little straps that are going to go over his top layer, or the top part of his body. It took me a while to figure out, how big I wanted it to be with his legs, his arms, but it wasn't that difficult. Just trying to figure out the sizes. So I did not really put any sizes of measurements as much as I should have, only because I wasn't sure what I was going to do and how big it was going to be. So I did do my best in trying to remember how big was something and measuring it and adding it in there for you. Right now I'm just doing his arms, and I wanted him to have like at the end of his sleeve to have like a little ruffle, so I tried to do that, and this was the best way that I could have done that. Because the clay is very soft, it is hard to work with sometimes. I also learned that if I let it sit outside instead of in the bag when I'm working with it, it will be easier to work with. So perhaps, when you're working with some clay that is way too soft and you need a different portion, just leave it out instead, and then this way it'll become a little easier to work with, if that makes any sense. And his arms, as you saw here, all I did is just rolled out and then bent it a little. I want his hand, I want it to be holding a lollipop. So this is what I chose to do here. You don't have to use glue, but if you want, you can. But because my clay is still way too soft, it holds together on its own. Now, when I did added the head later, I will be showing that I used glue because I did want it to secure that. And I am going to be also giving him a little neck because I wanted his shirt to have a collar. So I just grab the same color of what I'm going to be using for his hand, which is flesh, I believe is the color that I'm using. And that's going to be mimicking his neck. And then also, again, like I said, that's the same color that I'm going to be using for his hands. So here is when I'm going to be doing his collar for his neck. I should have added this, I guess, all the way around and try to press it down, but I was afraid to push, like, I don't know, to make dents in there. And late, you also have to keep in mind that when you're making a piece, for those who do not know, it will shrink the clay. And if it's not touching the other clay where it's not secured on there, you will see gaps. I did see a gap after it dried up, but I'm fine with that. I can always go in there and cover it up if it bothers me that much. But if you feel that it is going to bother you, then of course take care, do it a little bit larger, and you can just, with your size, and you can just cut it down somewhat. Again, keep in mind it will shrink. So if you make it a little bit larger, hopefully, will shrink a bit and it'll be the perfect size. So now that I have his body, his neck, I believe I am going to be working on his hands. His hands, I really didn't go that far into it like the ones I did previous, where I gave her fingers, because he is a pumpkin, and to me, yes, it might sound weird, but if it would have looked weird or felt weird if he had fingers, I don't know. I mean, he's a pumpkin, man. I don't know. I think the whole thing probably is weird. Anyway, so now that I have his hands and his body, I'm going to be making his legs. And here what I am doing are, believe it's going to be his, actually this is going to be, I'm going to make a tie first. I'm sorry. I'm going to make his tie, and it's very easy to do a tie, so I just cut some strips. I wanted to add some white because I felt like the pink was a little bit too dark. It wasn't as light as I thought it would be. And then the pants being black, so I wanted to throw another color in there. So I'm just going to go off subject because I would like to welcome all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Also, if you saw last weekend where I posted on my community page that I reached 9, I just can't wait to reach 1,000. So once I reach my 1,000 subscribers, I want to do a giveaway. And it's going to be a gift card to Amazon for $50. And I'm going to choose 2 winners. So I am going to, later in the week, I'm going to announce where I'm going to post, where you can go and post that you would like to enter the giveaway. I am going to leave, make a notation, not a notation, I'm sorry. I'm going to leave it on my community page for those, everyone who's following me here on YouTube, and you'll know where to do it. So this way I can keep an eye on all of them, on everyone that wants to enter. But yeah, I am so excited. I would not be here if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So with all of that being said, let's get back to the video. As you saw, this is how easy it was to make his tie. Now the inspirational piece had, for his legs, they weren't actually pants. He was wearing shorts. So I am going to be making some shorts instead of pants, because I know I did say it earlier, but I looked back at it and realized there were actually shorts that he was wearing. And it was really easy when it came down to making his shorts. I went and grabbed some clay and I rolled it up, making it into a marshmallow shape. And then I just used a clear block and I just flattened it a little bit just to make sure that it was not too tall or what have you. And here I'm using just a little stick to divide that. I believe these are going to be looking pretty weird. Yeah, they're just weird shorts. Anyway, so these were supposed to be his legs, but then I just realized that they're not. They're supposed to be his socks. And I just chose to add some strips on there. And here you go. So now that I have his socks on, I am going to be making his shoes. And I rolled out the clay about 2.5 inches long. And then just at the end of the the tip of the shoe, I just, curl those up. Wanted to make them look pointy. And now for his face, I chose to add clay instead of using the pen. I really didn't like how that looked. So I just used a triangle cookie cutter. And then for the mouth, I used what looked to be like a half moon shaped cookie cutter. And I actually did wind up gluing those down. So I wanted to make sure that they would not go nowhere, like falling off or what have you, because I am placing it on the foam and it took me a while. They actually wound up drying up on me. So all I need is just now to make his hat. To make his hat, I did the same thing the way I did his shorts, and I just rolled out some clay, made a marshmallow shape, and then I used my clear block to flatten it down, making sure that it was not too high. And then I added this band around his hat. This, I did glue it down because the clay was already too dry and I knew it was not going to stay. So here he is. He is all done and cute. All I need to do is just add some glitter and then his lollipop, and here is a closer look for you. What do you think? Really love how he came out. He looks adorable, and if you can see it in the back, there is the original piece that I got my inspiration from. Well, my friends, this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really love that you had a chance to watch my video. And with all of that being said, until the next time, my friends, stay safe, be kind, bye.